April 20th. This is another COVID Monday. We're going to start with, I don't think we're going to do the Pledge of Allegiance, so let's start with roll call, please. Leslie.
Mayor Laughlin.
Here.
Councilperson Sexton.
Here.
Miller.
Here.
Dean. Not on. Goodweiler.
Here.
And Stolman.
Here.
Tom Dean, are you there? Crap.
Oh, it says? Yes. He is.
Tom Dean, can you hear us? Okay, well, I see he's present, but I don't see his picture. Don't know whether to carry on. He's
There we
getting,
go. Okay, I think he's coming through.
trying.
He needs to turn his volume up.
Tom, turn your volume up on your device. Crap.
And turn his audio.
I'm not hearing you very well. Tom. Time to talk. Say something again, Tom. Maybe he should log off and try again.
Sounds like that crippled scientist.
If he's having some internet issues, he might need to turn on his cell phones.
What if he's down in his basement? What are we gonna do? He's kind of there and he's kind of not. Tom, any luck? I don't even know if he can hear us.
Get him my speakerphone.
Tom, do you want to try either logging off and start again? Or... that's not coming up. Not working. Everybody else here? Nothing from Tom?
It's static.
It's all static. Nothing but static. I don't know if he can hear us.
Well, he's talking. That's why the box is showing up, but we just can't hear him.
I wonder if he can see us. Feel like damn it. Nick, you got any suggestion? Nick Shimon for Tom Dean?
It sounds like there's just.
I
It
think
sounds
he's
like
got-
better internet connection. That's what I would
part
get.
of his house.
Better internet connection. That's what I would get.
He needs to go to a different part of his house. Hey, Tom, can you go to a different part of your house? Maybe get a better connection? I guess while maybe he's struggling through that, we can.
Tom needs to mute himself, so we're hearing back.
I can't hear anything from Tom.
There, okay, okay, he can hear us because he just muted himself, so that helps.
Okay.
Maybe we should use the dial-up number for the audio portion of it.
Redmond, I can't hear you.
Oh.
Let's get Redmond on board.
How about now? Testing 1, 2, 3.
That's a little better.
Okay.
You'll have to speak up.
Or he should come into the council chambers.
That'd be easy.
1, 2, 3.
We're gonna,
How do I sound?
Redmond, you could come into the council chambers since we have no other device in here to interfere with.
Okay.
Let's get let's get Matt Goodell's presentation going. So go ahead, Matt. What do you got to say, Matt? Say your thing.
All right. Just wanted to give an update on the creek cleanup for this year. We started around the College Street Bridge area. We went south, worked Lop Creek Park. We cleaned up 500 foot to the south there. We're mainly taking stuff out of the flow line there, and some stuff up on the upper banks. There's some pictures there before and after. We took out quite a few scrubby, bushy things down on the side, and a lot of dead trees. Then we went north, did the west side of the creek by the West Branch Roofing buildings there. We have a chunk of that, about 500 foot north of that too. And then on the east side, we did 1,500 foot up to about the Cargill fence. We did a little bit out at Cubby Park, basically on the west side of the creek. And that was just thinning out some trees and taking out any of the junk that was in there. We left some of the better trees that we want to leave growing, and it makes them mobile for when we can get in there. So other than that, we're putting together a map that'll lay out the next section here. We typically do it in the winter just because of the frost and there's less poison ivy and things like that. So that's pretty much it. If you have any questions about that, or
It looks good. Looks better.
well, it'd be nice if we could get some of the banks cleaned up a little better, but that's without actually pulling them back. That's as good as we're going to be able to do it. And then we tore it on all the stumps so they can't come back. But it's just an ongoing thing we're going to have to do yearly. So
Are you done for the winter? Until next winter? I mean, probably.
most likely, if we get dry summer, we'll go out and do some in the middle of the summer too. It just really depends on if we can pull off of our normal work to do it, or because sometimes the winters are bad to where we can't do it either if we have a lot of snow or stuff going on. So
Okay. Any questions for Matt? Anyone?
Looks good.
thanks.
It does.
How many more areas do you think you have to do?
We did somewhere around 2,500 foot. We probably have 10 times that we can do in the house. So West Orange we did last year, or down to West Orange, or down to the south end of Lions Field we did last year, and that one we'll have to do again. It comes in pretty quick. That will probably touch up again this summer just to keep the maples and willow trees out of there. But yeah, we have about 5 different large sections that we split it up into and hit. Well, we finally got to this section, but we got to go down near the buildings, down to Main Street also, south of Wapsie Creek Park, and that'll probably be the next section too.
Yeah, I like to focus on what's visible from Main Street.
Yeah, yeah.
Okay. Nice job.
Thanks.
Next, we have a public comment. There's no one here to comment, so we're going to move on. Item F, consent agenda. We need to approve the minutes from the last council meeting of April 6th. We have a pay estimate number 10 in the amount of $4,866.49 for the College Street Bridge project. And the claims. Someone give me a motion to approve those 3 items. Someone?
So moved.
Colton?
I'll second, Jerry.
Jerry, good job. Any discussion?
I have a question about $15,000 spent to Keltec. Is that police equipment for the new vehicle?
Yeah, that was, they loaded some equipment onto it that we had purchased. That was for the police vehicle, yes.
Okay.
So that puts up every vehicle about $50,000 generally. Police vehicles.
Is this the final payment for the College Street Bridge, or we got more coming yet?
There'll be a retainage, I believe, and
Yeah, we
That's
hope,
correct.
we hope to have the public improvements ready to be accepted at the next meeting or the meeting after that. And that would start the 30-day period before the last payout.
Yeah. I don't know what there is for B&K, but this, there will be 30,000 to Taylor.
got another payment coming, Dave?
It would be pretty small, Roger. I think we're pretty much to the end of the contract.
Oh, good. Okay, so we have a motion to approve the consent agenda items, 3 items. Any other comment? If none, let's vote.
Councilperson Durst,
Yes.
Sexton,
Yes.
Stulman,
Yes.
Dean,
Yes.
Goodweiler.
Yes.
Hey, Dean, hey, Tom, if you're not talking, turn your microphone. If you're not going to talk. I hear a lot of feedback still, but you're doing much better.
That better?
Yeah. Okay. Item 1. Does everybody have the agenda in front? Anyway, item G1. Third reading of ordinance 775, adding chapter 78 of the Code of Ordinances to the City of West Branch entitled Golf Carts. Somebody give me a motion, and then I got a slight discussion.
I'll make a motion.
I'll second. Nick.
Okay, I got a call from the, would anyone consider, we're not going to do inspections, but we're requiring this proof of insurance. Would anyone consider, I don't know how to put, if they come into the city office, a small fee, and they would get a sticker. That way the police know that that golf cart is in compliant, it's insured, and it's in compliant. And the sticker would be visible on the slow-moving vehicle sign. The person who wrote this ordinance was asking me if that would be a possibility, so I'm bringing it up. It could be added in this third reading and approved. Any thoughts on that possibility? Or do we leave enough alone and let it go?
Do we have an idea what I mean, I don't have an issue. I think it'd be maybe an easy way for the police to be able to identify the carts that are out on the road and to make sure that they do have insurance, they're insurance compliant. I think that's going to be the biggest issue with most of these golf carts is that they may not understand that they have to have a separate insurance. Their homeowner's insurance does not cover an accident. It covers their golf cart, but it doesn't cover them if they're in an accident. That's virtually what we're after.
Or the victim of an accident.
Or a victim of an accident, yes. I mean, Leslie, do you have any comments?
I do. Personally, I don't know what kind of insurance I would even be looking for. I think that the reason they asked to have insurance was so that a police officer who is, well versed in knowing what for insurance for, I don't know that I would be qualified to make that determination.
The analogy to me was the dog. We have to prove that the dog has had rabies shots. They bring that into the city, they pay the $10 and they get a tag.
They can do it online and we take it for their word, or they can bring it into the city, yes, and they give me proof of information from their vet.
That's the way I see, if this is even thought about how it would work.
You're saying, Roger, this would be like an online thing on your honor, and then you just turn in the paperwork saying that you do, or we're gonna
give them a little sticker to put on their vehicle. It shouldn't be on your honor. It should be proven to get that sticker that you're compliant, in my mind.
And it's not hard to get a proof of insurance from an insurance agent.
Does that need to be kept on file somewhere, or should the police have that?
I would say that as long as I would say if they put it in with their application to say that they have a golf cart and they have insurance, and that the insurance would be with that paperwork.
So then does the police need to keep that paperwork so they know when they stop somebody?
Depends on who issues the sticker. I guess this is additional work for probably Leslie, which I
don't want to make it a lot of extra work.
Yeah.
Well, it's got to be something like with the dog licenses, for example. When somebody would pick up a dog, the police department didn't have access to that information, so I had to find a way to make it accessible. So I've added all that information to Google and shared the link to that. But having insurance papers, I would just have to scan everything and send it to them, and they'd have to try to maintain the file, because stuff is most likely going to happen when I'm not at work. I'm not going to be able to access the information to give it to them.
Right.
So I think the reason for them to have proof of insurance is that they're driving around. They could, like when you get stopped in your car, you have it in your car, you pull it out, they look at it.
Right. And I
have a question.
Go ahead.
So I've been looking through this, and there's not a fee associated with having a golf cart. That's correct?
No.
Okay, but if we're purchasing stickers and we're going to have our office people doing a bunch of work, you ask a fee for a dog. Shouldn't there be a fee for the golf cart then, if you're going to do that?
Yeah, there'd have to be a fee. $10 to $20 is what I would suggest, but
Isn't this what we wanted to avoid altogether, extra work for the city? I mean, we don't go around, we don't make people with four-wheel vehicles come into the city and prove that they've got insurance.
yeah, or snowmobiles. So it's just a thought I'm throwing out there that was brought up to me. If anyone feels strongly, I guess whoever brought the motion up would have to amend it. Otherwise, we could try it again next year or maybe this could be added later on if we think it's necessary. So those are just my thoughts.
I mean, honestly, if you're in the cart and you don't have your proof of insurance in your golf cart, shouldn't they just write you a ticket?
Yes.
Not any different than if you're in your car and you don't have your proof of insurance.
That's correct.
I mean, that would solve it. And then next time you either bring it in and prove that they have insurance and the ticket goes away, or they pay whatever the ticket is.
Nick?
Yeah.
My understanding is with an automobile insurance, you have so much time to produce the certificate of insurance. You don't. Maybe
Now, if you're in an accident,
No, I think you get a citation, and then before you go to court, there's some provision that you can come in and show it.
Not if you're in an accident.
No, you're right. Now, if you're in an accident, you got to come to court anyway.
Well, and I think you have to, it's because if you don't have proof of insurance, if you have it and just don't have proof, they'll give you a ticket. And if you can show you had it, you just didn't have proof of it,
Right.
then that's one thing. But if you get a ticket on the 10th and your insurance didn't start till the 11th, you're paying a ticket.
You're paying a ticket. Right.
All right, well, so it could be a little bit of a hassle for the office staff. Unless nobody feels strongly about it, we'll either we'll drop it and pick it up again, or I don't feel any real strong reaction for it. So, is there any other discussion?
I would like to have something, maybe this ordinance that I could put out the golf course to give out some golfers, anybody that comes out there on a golf cart so they know what the ordinance is. That'd be possible.
Oh, yeah, that'll be easy.
Yeah, that'd be easy to do.
That'd be great.
Okay, if there's no other discussion on the golf cart issue, this is our third reading?
Yep.
Yes. Hearing no other discussion, I guess I'd like to move to vote then. Leslie, go ahead.
Councilperson Dean,
Yes.
Goodweiler,
Yes.
Schulman,
Yes.
Miller,
Yes.
Sexton.
Yes.
Okay. Item 2, moving on. Second reading of ordinance 774, amending chapter 45 entitled Alcohol Consumption and Intoxication, and chapter 47 entitled Municipal Park Policies and Regulations. This is our second reading. Give me a motion, someone.
So moved.
Second, anyone?
A second, Miller.
Who motioned it? Tom.
I did. Tom.
All right, good job. Okay. Any discussion? I think we've discussed it to death. Hearing none, let's vote.
Councilperson Dean,
Yes.
Miller,
Yes.
Sexton,
Yes.
Goodweiler,
Yes.
Schulman.
Yes.
All right, item 3, resolution 1890. Amending resolutions 1880 and 1724, which are agreements with Barnhart Custom Services for site preparation to include additional invoicing not to exceed $54,000 for related services. Someone give me a motion. I'm a little confused on this. Motion, please.
So moved, Jerry.
Jerry.
A second, Miller.
Colton. Okay.
You want me to give you a...
Redmond's going to explain this a little bit because
So what we're looking at are the expenses side of the project, which would be $54,000 in potential invoices that we expect to get for the rock crushing and the recycling of the rock. Now, the recycling of the rock is basically we're going to be getting paid for that crushed rock. And that crushed rock will then go for whatever uses, but it won't be going to the landfill. And since it's not going to the landfill, we will be able to get a certain amount of state credit, which will come back to us. So the $54,000, we anticipate $30,000, 30,001. I think it's 31,500 to be exact. We expect that to come in from the purchase of the crushed rock. Then we also expect to get tickets for the weighing of that rock as it leaves the site. And we expect to be able to get reimbursed for from the state for not having that rock go into the landfill. And we expect that to be 25,000. So with the 30 and the 25,000, we basically cover the cost of the 54,000. But we anticipate that's what the cost will be to haul off and crush the rock that's on that site. Does that make some more sense?
Okay, so we paid Bruce the original 50,000 and then another 39,000. Is that correct? We approved last couple meetings ago.
So the
So
site
the
prep,
89,000 to
yeah,
get that all dug up. That includes tearing down one building.
yeah, and all the substructure, all the concrete underneath the buildings and associated with the buildings, the driveways and all that.
So now we need to pay the crusher. I don't understand, why are we amending these resolutions? I guess that's what I'm unclear about.
So we had an original contract, and anytime we adjust that, the state wants to see how it all connects. So we had separate contracts. They wouldn't be able to follow everything that we've done on the site. And we also have to show that we have spent a certain amount of money. So all of that connects everything, and it's kind of what they prefer to see.
Okay.
So, Redmond, have you verified that 54,000 is with the assumption that there was 8,000 ton of cement to crush? Have you verified yet how much they had? Because I know that they were giving Barnhart an update virtually daily of how much they were crushing. Do you have that update yet?
That I don't. The 8,000 number estimate has been forwarded to me from Bruce, and we've been going with that. I guess the only thing that we probably really want to, if it goes beyond 8,000, we wouldn't have a problem. If for some reason it's below 8,000, then there could be an issue of not getting the entire 25,000 from the state.
I was told it's closer to 7,000 cubic yards, 7,000 tons. Bruce told me.
But I thought the grant was to pay up to 70% of that. I mean, just as long as we had 70% of the cost of that, the grant would cover it. Is that not right?
Well, that's right. I just don't know what that 70% means as far as the final price. Before, that put us right around the 25,000. If it's less, we'll have to recalculate. But it might mean we don't get as much grant money back. That's also why they want us to weigh it, because they need to know that.
So if there's only 7,000 tons, what does that mean?
It may mean,
This
again,
54,000 is too much?
no, it may mean that we may not get all of our 25,000 from the state. We may get some number less. The diversion calculation has to be coincide with the actual amount that is weighed. So if that actual amount weighed is less than 8,000, that might mean less than the 25,000.
So the actual amount that leaves the site, if that doesn't credit out to be, to equal the crushing cost or the 25,000,
mm-hmm.
then we're out a little bit.
A little bit. It's gonna.
There's no way them mountains of rock don't equal more than 8,000 tons.
I would have thought so. But I guess we'll find out when it's
I
weighed.
don't know. I agree with you, Dalton.
It does look like it for sure.
Well, the crusher has a scale on his crusher. That's how he determines how much he charges for the crushing.
That's right.
So Roger, have you heard from Bruce? That was the number, or?
He and I chatted 4 or 5 days ago, and he said it was only about 7,000, a large 7,000 tons. And I said, okay, well, it is what it is.
Does anybody remember how much the crusher was going to charge us a ton to crush?
$10 a ton.
No, it wasn't $10. It was 6 something. Thought it was like 675 or something like
Yeah,
that.
for the first 1,000 tons, and then after that, it got a little cheaper. Is that right?
375.
What's that?
375.
375.
No, that's what Bruce is going to pay for.
Yeah.
That's what yeah.
I'm asking what the crusher was costing he was going to cost us to crush it per ton.
Wait, I just want to say it's not costing us. He's a subcontractor of Bruce.
Yes, I know, but he's charging Bruce a certain amount per ton to crush it.
Yeah.
Yeah. Mm.
Are we going to reimburse Bruce then? Obviously.
That's part of his invoicing of up to 54.
That's what this 54,000.
It's $10 a ton on the contract. It's in the packet.
$10 a ton.
Yeah.
Jesus. Yeah, that's what the resolution, the first resolution.
The rock is to be crushed to a granular subbase, which costs $6.95 a ton at River Products. That's what it says in his.
That's not what it's costing us, though.
That's River Products price. If you went to River Products in Corville and bought the same product, that's what it cost. $6.95. I'm pretty sure the crusher wasn't charging, he was charging almost the same amount, but he was a little bit less than River Products to crush it.
Well, I'm looking here.
But I don't see anywhere where that price.
Page.
And then he had like a $4,000 mobilization cost.
Page 48 of the packet. Bushman Excavating doing it.
Yeah.
Yep.
For the first.
$10 a ton.
Yep.
First 1,000 tons at $10 a ton.
Anything over $10 a ton.
Still $10 a ton.
Wow.
That seems like a lot.
It is a lot, but I guess I thought it was in the $6 something. My mistake.
But is that where you don't have the 630 dump loads you have to haul off? Is that where the net comes from?
Sometimes that's $70,000 if it's 7,000. No.
Yeah. Yeah. It's
That's $70,000
to crush it, plus 4,000.
Yeah.
Mobilization.
So are we getting it done for 54,000 or 70-some thousand?
That was 54,000. I talked to Bruce today and went over the numbers, and he didn't have any problem with 54,000. And he also said that he might be able to weigh the product on site with some scale that the Fobians have.
Right across the street. There's
Yeah.
no tickets at that scale. There are no tickets at that scale.
Well, he said it's printable. They have printable tickets now.
Oh, maybe it does.
Yeah.
Okay.
So I guess he just learned that. He
That
said
would
that
be
was
good.
yeah.
Well, he's hauled some out of there already.
Yeah, out
Yeah.
to Springdale, past Springdale, they waited at Springdale Grain.
Right.
However, there were no tickets. He wrote it down.
I bought some this morning from him, and I waited across the street, and there was a ticket.
Nice. Okay. That's great. Right across the street, we can weigh everything. Phobians may want a little money for that, but that's all right.
Oh. I didn't realize they had a scale that was operable.
Okay, where are we at? Is 54,000 a good deal? I guess it is. If at $10 a ton, there's 7,000 tons. That seems like $70,000. Wait a minute. 1,000, yeah, $10 a ton. $10 a ton. Any other discussion, or should we just?
I'm kind of confused on these numbers.
I am too.
Two.
I mean, we got, if it's, like you say, 7,000 ton at $10 a ton is $70,000 to crush it. Plus $4,000 for the mobilization. That's $7,400.
$74,000.
Yeah.
Is this of time essence where it could wait another 2 weeks? Or do we pass this and take our $20,000 and run with it?
You're only approving 54,000 tonight, so if it's more, you got to come back anyways.
Somebody would have to come back for more, wouldn't they?
Yes.
Yeah.
Somehow I think Bruce has got it figured out. He's not screwing himself.
But I'm finding it hard to decipher what the 54,000 is even for. I mean, what if we give him 54,000 now and he comes back next time wanting $74,000? We okayed something that didn't have anything to do with crushing the rock.
The resolution says for concrete recycling services.
That doesn't mean rock crushing.
It kind of does.
Semantics. Which resolution? 1890.
Yeah.
1890. Is that at the top? 1882.
That's also based on his.
1724.
I guess the numbers of his proposal is what this 54 is based off of.
The proposal.
But
that was
his
8,000 tons.
Yeah, I know.
Who came up with the 54,000?
If you just add it up, that's what it comes up to.
Add what up?
If you add up 395, or if you add up the cost of
where did the 54,000 come from?
Look at page 3 or page 49 of the packet at the bottom. It says the proposal is 50,000 for concrete removal, breaking, processing, stockpiling, and preparation for future recycling. And then you add the $4,000 in for the mobilization.
Is that the original letter that was signed?
2018 it's dated.
That's the original letter.
Mm-hmm.
That's already been signed.
Oh, that came from Bruce.
That was from Bruce.
That's not the contract. That's
a proposal.
That's the attachment to the contract.
Then we asked him to give us a contract. Is that right? That we actually enforce. That's not a contract. That's his proposal. I think we need to table this. I don't know.
Well, Bruce said text him if there was any questions. Let me go text him and then we can come back to the item. We can skip it and come back to it.
Okay, Redmond's gonna go get a hold of Bruce and maybe he could come in here and talk to us.
Or he could just put him on Zoom.
That's a good idea. Let's move on. Can we move on to item 4? While we get, Redmond's gonna go talk to Bruce. Can I do that, Kevin? Just skip this, go to another one?
Thumbs up.
Where'd you go, Olson?
He said thumbs up.
Thumbs up, all right. We're gonna move on to resolution 1888, the next item. Or two. A resolution establishing a new capital fund to pay for capital expenses related to the I-80 widening project.
So moved.
Second, anyone?
I'll second. Nick.
Nick, good job. So this is I-80 West.
Correct,
This is the water main.
correct.
Water main. Do we already have one for the I-80 East?
Yes.
We do, okay. All right, any other discussion? Let's vote, Leslie, please.
Councilperson Miller,
Yes.
Goodweiler,
Yes.
Schulman,
Yes.
Sexton,
Yes.
Dean.
Yes.
All right, we're gonna go on to item 5. This is a discussion item. Consider discontinuing our 2019-2020 goal-setting exercise identified as high priority goal to install an asphalt shoulder on West Main Street. I'm not sure why we want to dump this, but I need Redmond here to explain this, I guess.
Matt Goodale might be able to explain.
Insight, Matt.
Yeah, we were gonna take it off because of the work with the school district, their turn lanes, all of that. Basically, any work that we would do out there would be overlapping with those turn lanes. So there's really no point in putting that money into it and then having something done with those turn lanes and tear it all back out.
I agree, or actually, we're not gonna do the work until that is resolved or finished.
Right.
I don't know why we gotta go through the process of eliminating it as a,
I think that was just the process that Redmond wanted to use, was to make sure that you guys were okay with taking it off as a goal, since it's one of the goals.
right. Any other thoughts, anyone?
One thought I have would be is, do you have a dollar amount that you set aside for this at all, Matt?
We had money that we were budgeting. We knew the price, but we don't have money sitting there to do this project.
Okay. Nice. I just wondered if there was money setting aside, you were gonna put it somewhere else, but
No, there wasn't.
Okay.
It came out at around $60,000, and it was still on the goal list, but it wasn't something that was going to make it through the actual funding.
okay.
Any other discussion? That's not his number. Could be his tablet. But I don't know what to do with this. Just let it ride, I guess.
Just a discussion, isn't it?
Yeah,
Yeah, it was only a discussion item.
let's move on.
We discussed it.
Yeah, we did. Good talk, you guys.
I'm for dropping it for now.
Saying it makes no sense to spend 60 grand to rip it out.
Yeah, we're not actually gonna do it anyway, so. Okay. All right, we're gonna move on to 1891. Cedar's Edge, resolution 1891, approving the site plan for Cedar's Edge. Lot 3, Ember Lane, West Branch. This is the clubhouse site plan for the clubhouse. It's been approved as by P&Z. I need a motion, please.
So move.
Tom,
I'll second. Nick.
Nick.
Who made the motion?
Tom.
Thank you.
This is a pretty simple site plan. It wasn't really much discussion. Anybody else have anything to say? fits just inside of the city limits. Is it an ag zone, Jerry, or not?
Yes, it is.
It's in an ag zone, right? This is allowable. Any other discussion? All right, Leslie. let's
Planning
vote.
and zoning didn't have anything to say, did they?
Very little. It's just some, I can't even think, no.
Okay, thank you.
I have a question.
Yeah,
If you put a business in an ag zone, do you have to rezone it to a business district? I don't know, what is it, they call it, CB1 or something like that?
no, it's allowed, say, Little Lights. I think Little Lights may be an ag zone also.
They got a conditional use permit to do that, though.
But in Ag 1, I believe golf courses are an allowable use.
Correct.
That's what I thought all golf courses were under ag.
Well, a golf
Terry-
course, but this is a building. I mean, how does that affect our tax?
It'll-
The way we tax it?
It'll get taxed as a commercial, full
Commercial.
value of the commercial,
It's taxed as a commercial building?
yes.
Yes.
Okay, then I don't care.
Land around it is not taxed commercial.
That's fine, that's fine.
Thanks, Colton.
Any other discussion? Let's vote then, Leslie.
Councilperson Dean,
Yes.
Goodweiler,
Yes.
Miller,
Yes,
Sexton,
Abstain.
Schulman,
Yes,
Okay, Redmond's back.
And Bruce is on.
Bruce.
So
Oh, he's muted.
he's muted, but if you have any questions, Bruce, you can probably unmute yourself now. There you go.
Okay, what questions have we got for Bruce? How much is the rock crushing costing us? Can't hear him. Bruce?
Can you turn your sound up, Bruce?
Yeah. I can text him. Jerry, text Bruce and tell him to turn his sound on. Bruce, can you hear me? Crap.
he's unmuted, but he may need to turn up his volume.
Turn up your volume, Bruce.
Zoom seems.
We're not. There he is. Hi, Bruce. Okay. Okay, I got Bruce on the phone. So,
Put him on speaker, Roger.
okay, Bruce, our question is, how much is the crushing costing the city? Is it the,
$6 a ton plus, I don't have that in front of me, but like there's a mobilization fee of maybe 4,000.
4,000?
So $6 a ton plus 4,000, and I can equate that to a ton price because I have the total tons here. Just a second. So you have that in front of you, Roger, that is 4,000 mobilization.
Yeah, yeah.
All right, divide that, or no. The total tons are 6,600. Let's just round it up to 70 equals. So about 60 cents a ton in mobilization. So the total cost is going to be $6.60 a ton.
So 660 times 6,670.
Yep.
Do the math, Nick. I can't use my,
It's about $48,000 and some change.
$40,000?
48.
48,000.
That includes mobilization.
I got 44,000.
$44,022.
Yeah.
Nick's using his head.
I added the mobilization fee.
The
Yeah, but he put
660
That
included that.
660 includes the mobilization.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
$44,200
Yeah.
44.
ish. Okay, it's looking better.
That's for less than 8,000 tons.
$6,000.
Yeah, what I get is $44,022.
Yep.
Yep.
6,670 tons.
Is that what you're expecting us to pay you then, Bruce?
Well, I'm just the pass-through, but that's what Bushman's bill, is gonna bill me, yes.
Okay.
So going through me, that will be what Bushman will be expecting to be paid.
Got it. So that's far less than the $54,000.
Well, remember, that was just based on a guesstimate of
Yep.
the raw concrete in the pile.
Right.
Well, that's actually good because that's less than we have to try to get rid of.
Yep.
Well, I would say it's good all the way around. I mean, it's less to pay for and less to get rid of, yes.
Okay, how do we handle this resolution then? I'm still unclear why we're doing a separate resolution. Why isn't it a whole separate resolution for the crushing? Why are we modifying two other resolutions because that's the way the DNR wanted it?
Yeah, it's connected to the same contract. So when I submit the final report to DNR, it's got to be the whole thing.
Okay.
So, and since it's not to exceed 54,000, if
So
we're going to come up
safe.
below that, that's fine. We don't have to really change it.
Is everyone clear on that? We're covered with the 54,000. All right, it's becoming more clear. I think we got you covered, Bruce. We got Bushman covered, we got the crushing covered. My last question is, the purchase of the rock. Are you still interested in purchasing that rock?
Yes, I mean, I think Redmond had told some of the council members, but yeah, I'd offered $375 a ton, and I have to load it for that. I may have to carry the cost of it for, however long, and I may have to move the remnants off the property if it drags on too long. But yes, I have already got some of the rock spoken for.
Okay, so that could come at a later date. We come to an agreement and a resolution on that, I imagine.
Well, it's here.
That's part of this.
Yeah.
Yep.
So,
So where does that?
that's in the second page, his one-page letter.
Yeah, that's his letter.
3.75.
What's 3.75 times 6,670 tons then?
I did 6,700 ton, just to round it around at 375. It comes up to $25,125.
25,000?
Just over 25,000. Yeah.
So we would recover some of that cost, is that correct?
We will recover that, and Wade has it in 3 installments. He actually gave us a prepayment already, so he's already kind of
Okay,
ahead of the game.
okay. I didn't realize that was happening already.
So if you take the 44,000 of the estimated crushing cost and the 25,000
Credit.
it leaves us $19,000 difference.
So that 19,000, we would like to have hauled off of there that we get some sort of credit for the DNR we could get reimbursed that $19,000.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Wouldn't that be part of the grant?
Yes.
Yeah.
There's plenty of gravel to be reimbursed to get that.
Yeah, we'll do the version calculations, but we know we can get up to 25,000 and
So it's only got to be weighed up to that $19,000 mark
After-
or the grant
or-
money mark.
yeah, 25,000 weighed up, how much we can get weighed.
Okay.
The way I figure it is, I'm gonna owe you $25,000 in change, and I think you might be eligible for recouping up to $25,000 for the grant portion. So you would get your Bushman's 44,000 covered plus maybe a little bit more, up to 50,000.
Yeah, I hope you're right. I think so.
Yeah, that's the idea.
Okay, it's becoming more clear. So I'm in favor of getting this resolution passed then. Last question, Bruce. Does the Fobian Brothers, does their scale have weigh tickets that you can print off then?
Yeah, I didn't talk to you today, Roger, but I told Redmond
Okay.
that, yeah, I talked to them and they actually do have tickets. So yes, I can get paper tickets to make the DNR happy.
Beautiful. That's great.
Yeah.
That's really good. Okay. We done with Bruce then?
Yep.
I think so. Okay, so
Thanks, Bruce.
thanks, Bruce.
Thanks, Bruce.
Okay, so I just did some little math here. Bruce's first bill was 49,663. The second one was 39,298. Kind of rounded them up a little bit. Come up with about 89,000.
Right.
The 19,000 in the difference of the crushing and what Bruce is going to pay. You add all those up, it comes up to $108,000 is what it's cost us to clean that site up so far. Take off the 50,000 that the grant will cover. We'll have 58,000 in
Cleanup costs.
cleaning that up.
A lot cheaper than I thought it was gonna
We
cost.
budgeted 150. We kind of had 150 in mind, so that's not doing too bad.
Right.
Yeah, the TIF was set up for 400,000.
Yeah.
Look, I'm gonna hang up on you, Bruce. Okay. We still got a resolution before us. I got a second and a motion and a second, right, Leslie?
Yes.
Any other discussion?
I guess the only other discussion I would have is if anybody has any comments about Bruce's price. I think it's a fair price. I told him this the other day. He does have some carrying costs. He's the one that needs to, he has the equipment to load it. I think it's a good price.
Yeah, it's a good deal for us. I hope it's a good deal for him.
I just have one question. He said it may take up to a year to get all this, a year and a half to get all the gravel out of there. Do we have any concerns about him keeping it on site?
I don't.
Didn't he say at one time that if we actually ended up selling the property and there was still some rock left, that he would actually move it off site at that time then? I think he said that at one
He
time.
did.
That's in his letter.
Mm-hmm.
We got 2 streets that are gonna happen in town. There, a lot of it's gonna go there. I think 90% of it's gonna disappear in my mind. And a year, that site won't, nothing's gonna start there for a year anyway.
As far as the state, we got about a month and a half to
I
show.
know.
Yeah, so
We'll need 19,000.
we don't only, we need that amount to be ticketed.
We need as much as possible moved away in about a month and a half.
And we could also weigh it, ticket it, and leave it on site too. We could do that. It doesn't have to be off-site, so I did get that okay. But it does have to be weighed and ticketed and not go to a landfill. Yeah.
Let's finish out our resolution here, then we'll move on. Any other discussion on Resolution 1890, which amends the other two resolutions on this subject and gives us an additional invoicing not to exceed 54,000, which looks like it's going to be closer to 44,000. Any other discussion? Okay, Leslie, let's vote, please.
Councilperson Sexton,
Yes.
Miller,
Yes.
Dean,
Yes.
Stulman,
Yes.
Goodweiler.
Yes.
All right, we're on item number 7. 2 more to go. Resolution 1893, approving certain easement agreement with the Fobian Brothers in connection with the College Street Bridge project. I think this is just to clean up the DOT. Give me a motion, someone.
So moved.
Jody? Wait, who said that?
Colton.
Colton. Need a second.
I'll second.
Tom D. Dave, is this just to keep the DOT happy?
Yes, this is paperwork to be able to include this under the participating portion of our project. So we have to have that storm sewer and intake inside of an easement. Phobians have agreed to donate that easement.
That's good, because the work's already done.
Correct. This is just following up to get all the paperwork cleaned up.
Any other discussion? All right,
Well-
Leslie.
I'm sorry.
Real quick, who gave the motion? Was it Stulman or Miller?
Miller.
Who?
Miller.
Miller, thank you.
Go ahead and vote, Leslie. Let's vote.
Councilperson Miller,
Yes.
Dean,
Yes.
Stulman,
Yes.
Goodweiler,
Yes.
Sexton.
Yes.
Okay, item 8, Parkside Hills. Chad's been waiting a while. Where are we on this? So it's resolution 1892 approving Parkside Hills preliminary plat. Give me a motion, someone, and we'll talk about it.
So moved, Jerry.
Second, someone.
I'll second.
Second,
Nick.
Miller.
Nick,
Never
got it.
Either or.
Okay. This has been approved by P&Z just last week. I think it was special meeting. I don't know what else to tell you. Kevin, what have you got to insight on this?
I talked to Dave, and everything, all the items listed on the preliminary plat are the way they should be, so we can get a development agreement. The only issue we had is timing on some of there's that turn lane on Parkside that the DOT's, we can't do much with that right now anyway. So I think we can approve it and get the development agreement done
I'd like
later.
to get this approved. He can get going on some of the grading. The turn lane may or may not be an issue. If it is, we're going to deal with it eventually before it's built out. There's still the entire development agreement that has to be agreed to, which can be worked on separately from this preliminary plat. Is that correct, Kevin?
Yeah, I mean, everything on the plat, size of the road, all that stuff is all where it should be. So it's basically a easy agreement to do, and then stuff like, which roads are private, which roads aren't, who takes care of the easements and stuff like that.
That's in the developer's agreement.
Right. But
So
I
the
think,
developer still has to go through a little bit of a PUD. There's still 4 lots, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13.
they'll have to do site plans when they do those lots, like when they do the duplexes, they don't have to come back and do site plan, other than the normal one you'd submit for a regular duplex. But just the detailed site plan on those bigger lots that'll have more and multiple buildings on them. We'll come back with a regular site plan like we normally would approve later.
Those
Depends
should
on
pretty easy.
what's go. Yeah.
I have a question.
Yes.
So I think I know the answer, but so on lot 1, it's showing 2 commercial buildings and a hotel. That commercial building that's the furthest to the left is not the existing gas station, correct? That's on the other side of that bold line.
Right.
Okay, that's all I need to know. And the other question I had was, what about parkland?
This is
That
a,
was my
Anybody
question.
discussed to him about that?
yeah, this has been discussed. There is a lot of public space on this site.
You mean the storm detention ponds?
More than that, there's, well, as part of the PUD process, I don't know if we automatically waive that parkland requirement.
We
Right.
talked a little bit about this, and since there were so many parks around the property, one, the national park across the street, and then also Veronic, that the green space that was in it basically satisfied, because this also came up in P&Z, basically satisfied everyone just because of the vicinity that it has with actual parks around it. So we came to that kind of conclusion.
Yeah, that's right.
I have a question. The stormwater detentions, are those wet bottoms or are they dry bottoms?
I believe the big one is a wet. Is that correct?
Yes, that's correct. This is Ron with MMS Consultants. The north basin is a wet bottom basin, be a small pond. The south one is a dry basin. Just grass in the bottom.
So are those, will those be in part of an association, or is this something that you're looking to turn it over to the city at some time?
I'm assuming it'll be part of a homeowners association, but I probably should let Chad chime in on that to make sure that I'm correct in that.
Yeah, it'll be part of the association. Since there's multifamily out there too, we've got the green space in between the buildings. That'll all have to be mowed and taken care of. So this will all be part of the big association.
Okay.
That'll be outlined in the development agreement too.
Yeah, okay. I just wanted to, that's a pretty big space and it's got water in it. It's gonna be, I mean, for the city, that'd be a pretty expensive maintenance type deal.
So that's a good answer Chad gave us.
Yeah.
Any other discussion on approving the preliminary plat?
When are you gonna get started?
We have gravel for sale.
Yeah.
Call the DOT.
Yeah. Okay, I think we're ready for a vote then, Leslie.
Councilperson Sexton,
Yes.
Miller,
Yes.
Goodweiler,
Yes.
Dean,
Yes.
Stulman.
Yes.
All right. Nice job. So, almost a little after 8. Let's do the administrator report.
Okay, I sent out an email right before the meeting, so hopefully you got it. If not, it will also be posted on our website. But a couple things. We did get a chance to have a meeting with Baldridge Environmental and V&K to talk about some of the sludge reduction data. We did not hit the mark for the new required limits that we're going to trying to test with Baldridge Environmental on the months of January and February. So there's been a lot of conversation on what we can do to enhance basically the temperature of the water. The bugs don't like to work in the cold. And we've been looking at ways to see how to warm up the water so that the bug can be at optimal performance. Baldridge had a proposal that would move the current system from its location by the waste treatment area process over to across the freeway to where the lift station is. They have an estimate of what that would cost, somewhere between $20,000 to $40,000. The wastewater task force hadn't been able to meet over it and really convene over those options. So I look to see that group meet and kind of toss over the benefits, cost benefits of that proposal. In the meantime, continue to pursue the interest to see if DNR will give us more time or relax the time frame to allow this investigation of this pilot project within actually be a formalized pilot project. Baldridge did share with us that Middletown, Iowa just got the okay to do a pilot project with his technology. They did also get the status of disadvantaged community, so that also helped that the decision with DNR, and they're also a smaller community. So we think both those things made that possible with them, but it still may be a difficult thing for us, but we're going to continue to pursue that. I guess in other notes, my office is currently working with ECIA and CIDCO to pursue a grant under the COVID-19 Economic Development Assistance Program. And right now, we're going to pursue the entire $7 million. It's going to be a $7 million grant proposal. And ECIA is working on that free of charge. I guess they're getting paid by the state. And CIDCO is also working with them as well as me. And that, if we're successful, we would only have to worry about a 20% contribution on that, and be the entire cost of the wastewater treatment plant that we've been looking at. So cross your fingers on that one. And from what I'm hearing, they're really looking for infrastructure projects, and we might just be at the right place at the right time. So we'll see how that plays out.
Okay.
I was told to remind city council members who hadn't got their pictures taken that we'd like to get that taken so we can update our website.
I have a picture I'll send Nick.
What year was it, Tom?
I think 2001.
I could send mine. It was probably 1980. That'd be all right.
Yeah, do that one.
Two other quick ones.
I'm waiting for the barber to open back up.
Yeah.
So I can get a haircut.
Two quick other items. One, I think you may recall we were really pressing our local businesses to take advantage of the small business relief grants that were related to COVID-19. I was informed that we at least had two local businesses receive those grants. One was Mexico Lindo, and they received $25,000. And the Down Under also received a $10,000 grant. So we're happy. I don't know if they're going to be having any additional grants, but if they do, particularly if they're focused on small businesses, we'll be making sure that our businesses know about it. The other thing was just a clarification note. We're kind of approaching April 30th, and based on the governor's order to evaluate whether work can be done feasibly, work can be done remotely, that deadline would be coming up unless she extends it. Is this the council's goal or thought to go beyond April 30th, or should we be planning to discontinue our process of
Shutting down keeping the restaurants and businesses closed?
No, this is related. I'm sorry. This is related to the city workers and our kind of skeleton crew that we've done in public works in particular. We kind of had the alternating A team, B team, and that was really based on the governor's order to basically reduce workforces where possible and try to work at home where possible.
Redmond, on Matt's protocol, he had listed the 27th as everyone returning to work on the 27th of April.
Okay, well, the governor's order was April 30. So it doesn't matter. I mean,
Well, I'm not gonna tell
her. So I don't know. There's a possibility that she could say, okay, we're gonna go another 15 days or
So
something.
I guess what we need to talk about is, does the city has no obligation to pay employees after the 27th. Everyone will have received 2 weeks of COVID-19 pay. That's what I want clarification on. Does the city want everyone to return to work on the 27th? If people want to stay off, they can use their vacation time. Part-time people do not have vacation. Full-time people have vacation. Now, maybe Matt has something he wants to say too.
What are your thoughts, Matt? You just went.
I guess my whole idea was to keep the guys separate of each other. At this point, I have enough work that every one of them can be separate. So I don't have an issue with bringing them all back next week. I'll actually be in at the end of this week. We're going to start hydrant flushing. That's something that everybody can be separate on. The mower guys all have a schedule and a location that they're supposed to be at, and they're supposed to be separate of each other. So at this point, I think there's not too much of a problem with everybody coming in. If we do end up with some rain days, I might tell somebody to go home if they're going to have overtime or anything anyway, or see if somebody wants to leave, because I don't want a bunch of guys standing in the shop either. So, but at this point, I'd like to handle it just that way and have everybody come back next week. So.
Okay, so the issue then is the 27th or the 30th?
Well,
27th.
It doesn't matter. I
That's a
mean,
Monday?
I think the issue is if the governor decides to go longer, what do we want to do?
My best guess is she will. Our positive cases keep going up, and they don't keep going up by a couple here, a couple there. They keep going up by 40, 50, 60, 100 a day. I can't see how she could open it up by the end of the month.
But if those guys can stay separated, is that enough? Or I'm not a doctor, so I don't know.
They would have to maintain, if you could stagger their shifts, so one comes in at 6 and he gets in the truck and goes, one comes at 7, gets in the truck and goes, and stagger when they come back, and when they get off, that might work. That's an idea. but I just don't see her opening up the state at the end of the month. We jumped 150 cases in one day.
Yeah. I think I can keep them separate of each other. I wouldn't mind talking to the couple guys that are a little more high risk on it and see what their feelings are on it. I also know we have a lot of work that needs to get done that, I mean, I don't want to bring everyone back if it's going to cause issues, because then we just wasted the time that we were off or whatever. But yeah, if she,
them take, the two people take vehicles home so they wouldn't have to go to the shop.
that's totally up to council. Yeah, at this point, we're not, according to our handbook, we're not allowed to take
I
those
understand.
vehicles anywhere or use them for anything. So
That's a way that they would not have to have any contact with other workers.
But they need to go to the shop period to get orders, to get marching orders.
yeah,
Supply.
I mean, right now, part of the issue before was keeping, being able to sanitize stuff in between people going into the shop and using tools. And I mean, most of the trucks have their own tools on them, so it's not, that works, but there's a lot of shared things in the shop that was the main reason for doing it. But I can segregate stuff a little more too, to where people aren't crossing paths a whole lot. It's just, at some point it's either don't do some of the work or come together to work, because some of the stuff we can't do on our own.
I want to add, last Monday, I saw two of the guys in the truck together. And I kind of thought that was kind of counterproductive from what we're trying to accomplish here.
Okay, I guess I didn't know that. We did the first day we did yard waste, me and Nevin did it together, because it was just too much for us to do on our own. But other than that, yeah, they weren't supposed to be in the trucks together.
I guess I would be in favor of staying with Matt's plan to get them back to work. Unless the governor issues that order, we'll have to reevaluate, I think.
Matt, you good with that?
I'm good with that. I'll come up with a scheduling or something to keep them more separate, because at this point, I really don't, I don't want anybody getting sick, but I don't want the whole department coming down with something either, because that'll pretty much cripple us for a while. So, but yeah, I'll figure out a way to keep everyone separate and still be able to get out and doing work. There's probably a couple things that we won't be able to do, but for the most part, I can make it work. So yeah.
Okay.
All right. Yeah.
Yep.
The only other thing I wanted just to update was that in addition to the grants I talked about, we also are putting in a grant for funding for our food pantry. And Mayor will be signing off the interest letter on that. ECIA prepared that, and we're hoping to go after $41,000 on that. So we'll see. See if we can take advantage of some of this money flying around.
Okay. Kevin Olson.
Nothing.
Nothing?
Nothing.
So the developers agreement with Chad you're still working on it.
Yep, and it'll come back to council. I'm going to get it out to his attorney by the end of the week. I'll send it around for people to look at it first.
That's it for Kevin then. Any other staff? Melissa? Keith?
I have something.
Leslie?
Last Friday, I did mail out the letters to the residents on the trash and recycling cart changeover. So the letters have gone out. I've gotten a couple of questions. One being, it was from a business owner, and I know we talked about it, but we didn't make anything official, and it was whether or not if a business owner had a property in town, if they could, and they normally take their trash to a dumpster, could they continue to do so, or did they need to have, did they need to opt for carts? The person called me today and they said they'll do it either way, but they felt like their property, they live on Cedar Street, it sounds like it might be really sloped. I wasn't sure exactly where their driveway was. I haven't had a chance to drive by, but they didn't know for sure where they'd be able to put their cart for someone to pick it up. I talked to Steve Smith last week and I asked him to come over. I've got a few properties I've got some questions on. So, but I was wanting to know about that piece, what your feelings were. I know we kind of talked about it, but made nothing official.
Dalton.
So I'd been thinking about this for the business owners like Jerry and apparently this person here, the other person. And I wouldn't be opposed to where if you could provide us with that you have a contract with a dumpster contract with a garbage hauler, that maybe we wouldn't require you to have garbage at your residence. But you would have to provide a valid contract that you have a dumpster.
I second that.
But the recycling's non-negotiable.
Right, I understand that, yep. I think that would make probably some of our local businesses, like we say, has their business, has a dumpster, they take their garbage to the dumpster, they're already paying for a dumpster fee. I think that'd be great.
But there has to be proof. You have to have a
Yeah.
signed contract from a reputable hauler. I mean,
Yep.
you can't come in with something wrote on crayon that I have, Slick Willie picks my garbage up, I mean, it has to be verifiable.
They're not going to get a trash can then either. If they don't
Right.
have a trash can, they're not taking anything to the curb except their
Right.
recycling.
So then they have to have a business in town though, within the corporate city limits.
Yes.
Okay. All right. Okay. So I will communicate that to that person.
I think there might be an ordinance change. I mean, it might be something we have to discuss. I mean, but
okay.
that would be something I'd be willing to.
Do you want us to bring that back then?
We have to change
We've got
the,
time for them to make decisions.
we have to change the ordinance anyways a lot to adjust prices and everything eventually. So
Okay.
yeah, there's going to be big ordinance changes.
Okay. And I sent that stuff to you, didn't I, Kevin?
Yep.
Okay, thank you. The website also has been updated. So if you haven't already received your letters, actually several people have, they've gone to the website today. You can record your options there. I've had at least 25 responses so far just today. Responses are due back to me by May 20th with the water bill or shortly thereafter. So that gives Steve time to order carts. We'll determine at a later date when carts will be delivered, but we're looking probably somewhere at the last 2 weeks of June. Residents can also make one change in their cart size within the first 60 days of going live. And Steve won't charge, but if they change their mind later on, there will be a charge, but Johnson County will take care of making that change and then notifying me so I can update our billing as well. The first scheduled pickup using the carts would be on July 3rd. And the trash fee will appear on their August bill. So those are the changes. That's all been communicated in the letters. And we'll see how it goes. That's all I had.
We're a month behind. If July 3rd, but not till August we get billed.
Yep, the July bill is actually for the service period of May 20th to June 20th.
All right.
So we'll put it on the August bill, which will kind of cover the end of June through July. So it's just because we bill in arrears. And I talked to Steve about that, and he said that was the way we're paying the recycling now anyway, so that was fine.
Okay, so I have a question for you, Leslie, and that pertains to apartments, condos, townhouses.
Yep,
I have a couple of them, don't have dumpsters.
yep, so.
One of my,
Yep, so on
One of my-
my to-do list this week is to contact you. So we talked about that. So I drove around, I've driven around several times in the last few months to try to get an inventory of who has dumpsters and who does not. So when we did the RFP, we said it was for condominiums up to 8 units. So the 12 units would be out. Right now, we do charge mandatory recycling on most everyone. I've done an audit a couple different times. I think I've got it pretty well cleaned up, but this will help clean it up the rest of the way. We just need to determine, for the 12 plexes, it's hard because you have 12 units, and if we gave them 12 carts and they're either going to be 65 gallon or 95 gallon, where are all those going to be? So we'll have to have that conversation to try to figure that out. So I've asked Steve to come and follow me around and let me ask my questions on what about this property, what about that property. But since we also don't have anything as a city to offer those people in the 12 plexes and the 10 plexes to place recycling, I don't know if it's something we want to think about. Maybe we have a centralized location that they could drop stuff off. I'm not sure what the best answer is. But right now my plan was, since they're not technically eligible, I would remove the recycling charge off their water bill.
Colton.
I was forced to provide recycling for the people out here because it's in our code of ordinances for 165 people. So I think a 12-plex owner ought to be able to figure it out.
It's
All right.
So I have a question on the people like on 4th Street down towards Maine
The first
that
block,
don't have any street access.
yeah, they're on my list. I was going to ask Steve to find out if those people need to put their carts like on the alley on Green Street. So those are some of the ones I do have questions about, because we've got, there are some properties that are a little bit interesting. Even on East Main Street, there's a couple of properties there that they don't have driveway accesses. One's right on the alley. I don't know where currently they put their trash. I have to drive around and figure that out.
I think the one in the alley on Green Street you're talking about, I think the garbage truck backs down the street, picks up their garbage
Down the alley?
down the alley. Yeah.
Okay.
You go through that alley, can he?
Might
Take it
not.
on the bottom side.
Yeah,
If I
so
remember right, when that street got fixed, there was the approach getting into that alley was too steep and the garbage truck bottomed out.
Yep.
So that's why I say they back down there.
So those people did receive letters, but I just have to figure that out. I'm waiting for, and I'll probably get some individual phone calls, and I've just been telling the person today, said I have to talk to the hauler and ask them where they should place their carts.
Yeah.
So it might be different for each person.
I'm kind of looking at, they're on 4th Street across from the vet clinic. There's no place to set 10 garbage cans. I mean, you take up, I don't know where they put them, unless they put them in the street. Now, I went through Solon last week, the same day that they set their garbage out and had it picked up. There were some that were sitting in the street. Some set on the off the curb, but there were cans sitting in the street.
Yeah. Yeah, I drove up on 4th Street and drove around that little alley, and I looked at the same thing going, well, there's probably a way. I'm sure there's a way. We have to find out what it is. So, yeah. And I think Johnson County will probably leave a note for each of those individuals, but I'm not sure on that either. Like I said, last week I was just interested in getting the majority of the letters out. And then this week I'm hoping to clean up all those little odd things.
Yeah. Yeah. The sooner for me, and I'm sure some of these other multi-property owners would like to know what they'll have to do.
Yep. I had one call today from one of them, and we worked out two of the 4 of his properties.
Okay.
Okay. Got some details to work out. Nice job, Leslie. She's working on it. Anything else? So I guess we're down to the mayor and council. Anything from council?
I have a couple questions. One would be, did nuisance letters get sent out?
Yes.
I think I seen one that may have semi cleaned up his property. That's why I'm asking.
Yes, they have, and there's been, you can tell there's been responses. There's one letter that came back, which I talked to Kevin about, and he's going to directly communicate with their lawyer.
Is that
And-
unusual?
Yes,
It's the usual.
Okay.
So, but I have noticed there was some issues with parked cars. I think the one on West Orange and parking on their lawn. They've done real good with parking on the street and not parking on the lawn. So, and there's been another that has complied. So we see that they're making progress, and we haven't sent the second letter. We just sent out the first one, which was asking them to do it without us breaking down on the enforcement arm on them. So
When are the next letters due out then?
well, if we find out that that they're not, we set the spring, so that would be, it could be any time now. So
Right.
there's one on the list that hasn't done anything, and that's the one we've been talking about. So we can go straight into harder enforcement with that person. But everyone else seems to be working on it, if not taking care of it.
That's good. So far that we can attack some more too.
Yeah, and I will say we had ordered a magnet strip to go on one of the public works vehicles that will say code enforcement. So once that comes in, either I or someone else will be making rounds around. So that'll be in addition to what the police department already does, but we'll have at least 1 week, a day a week where there's a round being done throughout all the city.
Sounds good.
I have one thing. I would like to know what the council's thoughts are on us drafting a memorandum of agreement for paying Kevin Stuhlman's health insurance. If future councils come on and say they're not going to do it, how binding was our word on this?
We're kind of working
a
on.
budget for next year. I'll say that. And
We're also kind of working through how to do that. There's, I guess, two different approaches. One would be an agreement, a work agreement, kind of like the city has with me. Or
Well, it's been a month and a half to almost 2 months. Why don't we have this done?
it doesn't start to July 1st. That's the reason. So, but the other is we would create a policy that would address all part-time. So I think we've been working through our various insurance carriers and those are long-term, short-term disability, I think couldn't be done, and we had to figure out why that was. And so there's some things we've been working on the HRA and to get ready for July 1st when it goes live.
But yes, there will have to be a resolution, whether it, at least defining Chief Stuhlman as a part-time employee, and then we have to offer it to all part-time employees. But we don't have.
What do you mean offer it?
Offer health insurance to all part-time employees. We can't just choose one. We can't discriminate. But the city can decide that they are offering to pay the fire chiefs the city's portion of the way the full-time people pay it, which is 70%. We'll pay 70% of the fire chiefs, but we will not pay any of the rest of the part-time employees.
Well, it's now almost the end of April, and we got 2 months to get this done.
We have to submit the enrollment form the 15th of June to Wellmark. I've been talking to Wellmark, And I think I had a resolution prepared to come tonight, but it was discussed in the office and there was some
Okay.
agreement.
Okay. All right, I'll be in, we'll talk about that sometime. Anything else from anybody?
Yep. I have one more thing. Hopefully it's quick. Covey Park, the outfields. I went out there the other day and I guess my question is, what are we gonna do with the outfields? There's a little bit of grass growing through. They look like they need thatch really bad. By now they should be fully green.
So I had Tony Senior come out last week and look at our fields and kind of give us some guidance as to what we needed to do. This week we're just going to take off a layer of grass, and he thought they'd green up real quick. So I don't know if that answers your question or not, but we had him look at that, and I had him. I also had last week out the irrigation company to give me some estimates on moving those lines, and then a couple other things too going on. But so yeah, he wasn't concerned at all.
Okay, now would be the time to move them if we've got them closed.
Yeah.
Well, yeah, we just don't know with the governor too. She's going to open it up if we're going to be able to use them in May, or what our season is going to look like. So yes, we did that. Yeah. So I have had somebody look at them because I was a little concerned.
Good.
Anybody, anything else? I'm looking for a motion to adjourn then.
So moved.
Alton,
Second.
Second.
Gary, all those in favor say aye.
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 Meeting adjourned. All right. That went a lot better this time. Thanks, Nick.